Yeah, I have two younger siblings. They are twins. They are 30 years old. And I have an older sibling. She's going to be 50 this year. And she lives in Cairo, Egypt. And my younger siblings live still in my hometown in Hungary. It's Szeged. It's spelled S-Z-E-G-E-D. It's a little bit smaller than Spokane, but it's a very culture-oriented town. It has a few universities, lots of international festivals, so I was lucky to grow up there. Well, my grandparents were peasants. They lived on a farm. My parents grew up on a farm and they moved to the city. So I'm from a peasant blue-collar family. But in the socialist era, you were pretty much encouraged to do whatever you wanted to do, even as a girl. And definitely with my mother, we had conversations about it, and she really just gave me a free hand and said, whatever you want to do. So there was no pressure one way or the other. And I'm very grateful for that. Because I saw in intellectual families, there was so much pressure to become a lawyer like dad, or to become a doctor like mom, and carry on the torch. And there was nothing like that in my family. So that was a very positive point, yeah. Well, I stumbled into this. My older sister was an artist, a ceramic artist, and I couldn't really decide at age 12, 13. In Europe, you decide very early on where you want to orient yourself, what to become. And I was really interested in psychology, given that I was already growing up in a kind of a soft dictatorship and also a very abusive family. So naturally I was oriented towards psychology, but my sister nudged me, and then I ended up in the art high school. And I think it was a great choice because it was a great therapy for me. I could also interact with other artists and also could be alone if I wanted to and work alone. So I had the best of both worlds that way. Yeah, so it was really by accident, you know, I ended up in the visual arts. Well, it means Hungary was occupied by the Soviet Union at the end of World War II, and we were a satellite country of the Soviet Union, so we were the US's Cold War enemy. And basically there was a dual government. There was a Hungarian government, but also there was a Soviet government, which really had a lot of influence over the Hungarian government, how to conduct business and keep the country a socialist country. My parents saw more upheaval and more retaliations against people who uprose against the socialist government. My parents saw much more of the upheaval which took place in the 50s against the socialist government. And there was a 1956 revolution. My parents were kids then, still kids. And it was really basically, there was an